Hello everybody, welcome. We're doing some anatomy and physiology. Hello everybody, we're doing some anatomy and physiology today. Let's see how this looks. Alrighty, welcome to the live stream here. We're going over some anatomy and physiology questions this morning. Hello, welcome to the live. We are going over some anatomy and physiology questions in the endocrine system. How are you guys doing today? Welcome. Welcome. Hello. How you guys doing this morning? We're going to start going over some endocrine system for anatomy and physiology practice questions. I will be going over them here fairly shortly. Hey, how's your day? We're starting the chapter on bones. Any times on how to remember and study? Yes, my day is going very well so far. It's morning for me. But for the bones, is it like the axial skeleton or the appendicular skeleton? I think most of the time, whenever it comes to memorizing for the skeletal system, I think it's very important to like take all of your diagrams from class and make them into little flashcards and such, and then practice labeling. I think labeling is like the most important thing. I'm in AP 1, so not sure. Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, I recommend like pretty much putting out a list of all of the different bones that you have to memorize, and kind of like structure them into like different sections. Like there's skull, the vertebra, there's upper limb, lower limb. So I would section them off and then go kind of section by section and practice labeling those, and then eventually try to like move in and doing it all together. Does that help and answer your question? Hello, welcome if you're just joining. We're going to do some endocrine system practice questions here. Yes, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, definitely, I did put a video on my account about how to memorize like the axial skeleton and stuff. It's a pretty short video and such. It's like a minute long, but I essentially kind of show you like what I was doing and kind of explaining it at the same time. But just like going through and filling in like the blanks and whatnot. But without further ado, is everyone ready to get started on the practice test here, practice questions? Thanks for following and thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are all very awesome. I really enjoy doing this. But the endocrine system I've been getting, it's been requested by popular demand. So I do post these to my Instagram, midzig.ollie, after the live streams, all the notes that we took during the live and such. But I do appreciate you guys joining and liking the live and everything. It's been nice to have you guys here. Welcome. Thanks for liking, thanks for joining, thanks for following. I really appreciate it, guys. Do you guys have any questions before we get started? Just about like any general anatomy questions or like tips or anything? I just gave some tips to somebody on some of the skeletal system, like how to study that and such. But we will be going through some endocrine system questions here in just a second, which I think we have quite a few people in here now, so I think we would be ready to go. Are you guys ready to start? Thanks for the gift, guys. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, so thanks for following. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the roses. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. You guys are too kind. Salma C16, thank you so much. You're too kind. But anyway, we'll get started here. What Which gland is known as the master gland? Master gland. Now this one's a little different because you got to remember master gland and then regulator. B. Seeing some B's. The master regulator would be the hypothalamus. So it would be the pituitary gland, so B. So these questions are going to start off a little easier and then we'll get a little more difficult as we go along. But anyway, the primary function of the endocrine system is to what? It is essentially the importance. B, yes. Produce and regulate hormones. Good. Congratulations, guys. Good. Which hormone is primarily responsible for regulating blood sugar levels? For number 3. We're on number 3 now. You have insulin, glucagon, cortisol, or D, both A and B. This is going to be what's regulating blood sugar levels. Give you guys a couple more seconds. I'm afraid I'm tired. I just woke up. Yeah, no, you're good. I did too, kind of. That's why my voice is a little more croaky. But the answer is D. It is both A and B. Is everyone good on that one? Or are you ready to move on? I saw some people putting A, but insulin is true, yes. But glucagon is also responsible for regulating blood sugar levels. Okay, good. Alrighty, we'll move on to 4 then. Which of the following hormones is released by the thyroid gland? Be good. So number 4, what is released by the thyroid gland? Cortisol, T4, oxytocin, or insulin? You guys are awesome. Yes, it is B. You guys are so smart. I'm impressed. Which gland is responsible for producing melatonin, which makes us sleepy? I will say there are 30 questions, so like, if you guys just want to put on to the side like how many you got right, and then put it at the end of the questioning. But I'll ask one more time. Which gland is responsible for producing melatonin? The thyroid gland, the pineal gland, the pituitary, or the adrenal gland? The answer for this one is B. So move on to the next set of questions here. Alright, so we're on number 6 now. The adrenal glands are located on top of which organ? This is an anatomy question per se, as opposed to physiology. What do we think? A. Yes. Good job. And move on to number 7. Which hormone helps regulate metabolism? Growth hormone, T4, parathyroid hormone, or oxytocin? And we're on number 7 now. These are test questions for an anatomy and physiology endocrine system section. So this is for like your undergraduate level anatomy and physiology. I'm seeing some different answers, couple different answers here. Thanks for following, I really appreciate it. Thanks for the gifts as well. We're on number 7. The answer for this one is B. Thyroxine. I did see a couple answers there. Did we want an explanation on that one? Or are we ready to move on to number 8? So either just put explain or, okay, yes. We would like an explanation. Alrighty, so your thyroid is always going to kind of be, so I'll put this in green because it was right. So this is a hormone that's secreted by the thyroid gland. Growth hormone, I'm going to put this one in red. is more for growth and repair. Name growth repair. So this wouldn't necessarily regulate metabolism. For parathyroid hormone, this controls calcium levels in the blood. So it wouldn't do metabolism. And then oxytocin is more so like it's always called the love hormone. So this is like your bonding hormone, or it increases during labor contractions, so not metabolism. But essentially what T4 does is it's responsible for helping the body convert fat and carbs to energy, so... into ATP. Alrighty. Oh, bro just answered 8. I did, yes. I did accidentally do that. I didn't even think about that. Where did I get these questions? I made these questions after I went through my notes. All the questions I put on my lives, I make. I did answer 8. So I guess I will. What does the parathyroid hormone regulate? It's blood calcium levels. Oops, I didn't realize that. I guess sometimes you do that. That's the thing, though. When you answer questions, blood calcium levels is number 8. I just answered that because I answered it by accident myself. So that's kind of the point whenever you go through, like, whenever you're going through your exams and you're like, all right, well, I know this one's right, but why are these ones wrong? When you know why they're wrong, it helps you, like, which hormone regulates metabolism, and you're like, oh, parathyroid hormone, that regulates calcium, and then you write that down, and then you move on, you're like, oh, parathyroid hormone, oh, blood calcium levels. So that's kind of like why I think it's like these. So I do post these questions to my Instagram afterwards. I have to do these live exams. I'm trying to do them almost every day. I'm actually going to go through these questions, and then I'm going to go through tissues in the integumentary system tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My anatomy class made us do written exams. Oh, wow. So, like, were you answering, like... Okay, that would be great. This would be a great study for me. Yeah, no, I definitely... I would like you guys to join. I have been thinking... Thanks for following, everybody. I have been thinking about doing... Instagram is the same as my thing. I'll put it up here. It's medzeg. I have been thinking about... So, obviously the lives go away. But I was thinking about uploading the live streams to YouTube following them. I don't know what you guys would think about that, or if people would, like, kind of go back and watch it. Tonight is at 7 Yes, tonight, Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. I just figured, I had time this morning, so I figured I would do one. Yeah, no, we had to write. Okay, wow. I honestly kind of enjoyed preparing for those questions. Where can I get these type of practice questions? I've been thinking about making some sort of, like, tab on my website for practice exams. But for now, I post all of these to my Instagram after the live, so pretty much... So I'll put that. So these will get posted right after the live to my Instagram, where you can look at them, screenshot them. I believe anatomy and physiology is on the T's. I plan on doing... I've been getting a lot of emails, actually, about doing a live T's practice exam, and I'm definitely going to do one. I would say it's going to happen later in this week. Digestive system, I actually did last night. So that's why I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll upload these to YouTube for, like, some people who missed it. Okay. Ooh, my chair fell. Alrighty, hold on, let me set this back up. Alrighty. So, yeah, I actually do like the written a lot better. I feel like I'm a lot more prepared, and, like, I just don't confuse myself. Sometimes multiple choice can confuse me. But let's move on to number 9 real quick, and then I'll start. I did save the digestive system video, but I haven't uploaded it. Oh no, if you go to my website and go to my email, send me an email. And I'm thinking about, I'm probably going to post that live to my YouTube at some point here, like today or tomorrow. So I can definitely send you an email back once I upload that. But also, if you go to my Instagram, I have the digestive system questions on there as well. So the video isn't up, but the questions are on my IG. But anyway, number 9, which hormone is released in response to stress and helps the body cope with emergencies? You guys have already been answering that one here, but then it's cortisol. And then number 10, which endocrine gland produces testosterone? We'll move on to number 10. Psalm C16, thank you for the 5 roses. You are incredible. I really appreciate you. You're too kind. C testes. Yeah. I remember test and test, testes, testosterone. I normally have better handwriting. I'm just kind of trying to write faster. Thanks for all the following, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are incredible. I would assume that these questions would be good for the T's, because I believe there's some anatomy questions on there, and I know that anatomy is a prereq for some nursing programs. I went to Liberty for 2 years of undergrad, but what kind of questions are these? These are just your regular, like, undergraduate level anatomy and physiology questions that focus on the endocrine system. I can definitely do more themes for questions. Like, I can do a T's Q&A. I can make like a practice test and do one live. But these questions would be good for the T's, yes, typically. Please do T ones. Yeah, I'll announce on my, if you guys give me a follow, I will announce on my story when I plan on doing a T's exam. We'll go through a whole practice exam. All right, but anyway, let's move on to some next set of questions. All right, so number 11, which hormone stimulates uterine contractions during childbirth? Which I think we went over earlier. Again, that's the benefit of going through and trying to figure out why ones are right and why ones are wrong. Give you guys a couple seconds to answer. Yes, B, oxytocin. Do we want to go through what all the rest of these are primarily function for, or do we want to keep moving on? Just say explain please or move on. Either one is fine with me. I don't mind explaining, I don't mind moving on. I'm doing this for you guys, so. But oxytocin is the love hormone. Move on, yeah. Alright, which part of the adrenal gland produces epinephrine and norepinephrine? We're on number 12. Number 12. There's the adrenal cortex, the adrenal medulla, the adrenal capsule, the zona, fasciculata. BB. Yes, you guys are correct. This is the adrenal medulla. We're good on that one. You guys pretty much all got that one right, so I think we can move on. Do we want an explanation, or do we want to move on again? I think most of you got that one right. You explain the answers. Yeah, so the adrenal cortex produces like cortisol, aldosterone, and androgens, but not epinephrine or norepinephrine. The adrenal capsule, it's part of the adrenal cortex, so you know that it would, and that's specifically what's for cortisol. Oh, sorry, no, that's my bad. That's the zona part. This is part of the cortex for cortisol. The adrenal capsule is the outer layer of the adrenal gland, so my mistake, guys, sorry. So it does not produce hormones. So that's the difference. The adrenal medulla is responsible for, I'm going to put the right answer over here. It's increasing your heart rate, your blood pressure, dilating airways, things like that. Alrighty, doing this in anatomy right now. We're going to find this quiz. I'll post it to my Instagram right after the live. My Instagram is medzig.ollie. Would you guys be interested in me posting like practice tests on my website for you guys to do? I'd be more than happy to make them. For the life of me. Yes, please, yeah. Do I have any for epithelial tissue? I do have my notes for epithelial tissue is on my website. I'm doing another live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that live is going to go over the tissues and the integumentary system. So I'm going to do it's my chapter 4 and 5, but tonight is going to be tissues and skin. So we'll do a lot of practice questions on that. This type of on the GED test, I'm actually not really sure. I wouldn't think so. This questionnaire is not on my website currently, but I'm planning on putting it on there. But thanks for everyone for joining and following and everything and all the gifts. I really appreciate you guys. But I'll move on to the next question here while you guys... I also, sometimes while I'm writing, I don't see the comments sometimes. So if I do, if I miss a question, feel free to put it back in. I have a test going to check. Yeah, great. It could be for LPN. This could be. I can do MCAT prep, yes. But let me move on to this. The pancreas has both endocrine and exocrine functions. Its endocrine function is to what? Digest carbs, regulate blood glucose levels, produce bile, or secrete gastric juices. So I'll go through those questions real quick. But all my study guides and such for this class are on my website. They are linked in my bio. B, yes, correct. Is anyone confused about that at all? Everyone kind of got that right. Do I ever do T's test prep? I have not yet, but I'm going to this week because I've gotten a lot of requests. So my email is on my website. Do I have a study guide for the blood? I do have a study guide for the blood. It's on my website. But yes, I don't think these questions are on the GET test. I really doubt that. I have not looked into a GED test, but I doubt it. How do I recommend... How do you know what the right stuff to study? I would mainly focus on, do I have study guide for immune system? I do. That is also on my website. The books he gave us have very little info. If you go to my website and go to like the study resources or tools section, let me check. Let me double check. I have a list of Amazon links. Yeah, if you go to my recommendations on my website, I have some books in there. I have my lab book that was very useful, and then I have other one. But no one really seemed to have any question. Explain, please. Yeah, I think it's best to kind of focus on everything. But if you think about anatomy and physiology and kind of what you should be looking for, really, so physiology is like how something works, right? So at the beginning of your chapters, you're going to go over the functions of each system. And that's really where like kind of your center of study should be focused on the functions. So like what structures and processes contribute to these functions. And that's how you should focus your studying in anatomy and physiology. So structures, processes, and how do they contribute to a proper functioning? What would cause dysfunction? And then what's the result of dysfunction? So that's kind of how you should really focus your studying in anatomy. They want an explanation for number 13. Is that what we wanted, an explanation for 13? So really for this one, the main thing here is, where should I put this? I'm going to move this out of the way since we didn't. So for digesting carbohydrates here, this is an exocrine function. Bile is not produced in the pancreas. It's the liver. And then gastric juices are secreted by the stomach. Hopefully that answers the question. But if you think about like regulating, let's see why this one's right. So blood glucose is in your bloodstream. I'm gonna abbreviate that BS. Bloodstream. But so endocrine is directly into the bloodstream. That's essentially what that means. So when you're releasing something into the bloodstream, you would regulate, blood sugar in the bloodstream. So you would regulate that. Hopefully that answered the question there. That's kind of how I explained that one. I know everybody definitely following you, taking anatomy this spring. Awesome. Good luck. This is helpful. I'm glad this is helpful, guys. I'm so glad. That really makes my day. But thank you all for watching, and thanks for following and joining along and everything. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. But anyway, hopefully let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. Do I have a study? Okay, I think I'm good. I don't think I missed anybody's question. Thanks for the Yolanda. Thanks for the rose. I really appreciate it. Do I do press for the DAT exam? I can. Do I have any videos on calculations? Not currently, Yolanda, but if you send me an email of what calculations, I can make a video. Okay, thanks for the rose. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Do I have anything to help with the biology section of the HESI? Not currently, but I'm going to work on that. What's the difference between endocrine gland, study on endocrine system? So endocrine, I'm going to double check here. The endocrine system is more so like the structures, and it kind of goes over the function of the endocrine system, and then the endocrine glands are focused more so on the hormones. So it goes through GHRH, like growth hormone, pituitary stuff, ACTH. So it goes through all the hormones and what they're stimulated by, what they're inhibited by, what their target tissue is, and their response. And then the endocrine glands have my chart, endocrine chart, which is what helped me get an A on my exam. So it has I can show you an example and give a little. But this is kind of what I made for that. I had a chart of all the hormones, what they're produced by, in response to, and what they do. Things like that. So that's the difference between those. Where did I get this question worksheet? I made this myself. Okay. Pharmacology? I do have stuff for pharmacology. I just haven't posted it yet. Okay. All right, let's move on to 14. Real quick here while you guys... Do I post my notes? Yes, my notes are on my website, and I post notes from the live on my Instagram. All right, which hormone stimulates the release of thyroid hormones T3 and T4 from the thyroid gland? What device am I using? I am using the 12.9-inch second-generation iPad. but we're on number 14 now. I'll give you guys a couple seconds. It's B, TSH. Correct, guys. It's awesome. Thanks for following, guys. What is the we're on to 15 now. What is the function of aldosterone? Increase sodium retention and potassium excretion, lower blood sugar, increase calcium absorption, and stimulate lactation. Again, I'm trying to follow along with all of your questions. If I miss one, just feel free to put it back in. But thanks for liking the live, and thanks for commenting and participating. I really appreciate it. But you guys are killing it. The answer is A. You guys are correct. Ooh, dang, I really messed that up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. But thanks for liking the live, and thanks for joining, and thanks for participating. Thanks for following, everybody. You guys are awesome. But anyway, we'll move on to 16 now. Do I do DAT prep? Not currently, but I can soon. I have looked into it. But anyway, which of the following hormones is not released by the anterior pituitary? Thanks for following, guys. Can I move the screen a little to the right? Yes. Is that better? Can I show 14 again? Yes. Give you guys a couple seconds to answer number 16. Which of the following hormones is not released? Not released by the anterior pituitary. A couple different ones here, but the answer is C, antidiuretic hormone. Is anyone confused by that one? Did anyone need an explanation for 16? Just want to make sure that we're all good before we move on. I don't mind explaining some, so if everyone's confused, yes, can you explain? Yeah, okay. Alright. So ADH is actually produced by the hypothalamus. But it is stored. So it's stored in the pituitary. It's in the posterior pituitary. So it's stored and released. So you have to remember, we're talking about the anterior pituitary. So it is kind of a trickier question. But it was made by the hypothalamus, stored in the posterior pituitary. This is secreted by the anterior pituitary. Growth hormone is. As we talked about earlier, stimulates growth. Prolactin is also produced in the anterior pituitary, which is responsible for milk production. And then luteinizing hormone is also produced by the anterior pituitary. And that's a role in like the menstrual cycle. I'm going to put these in red. Menstrual cycle. Alrighty. So I'll move on to number 17. Hopefully I did I miss any questions? No one is confused. Okay. Is everyone good now? It was just kind of a trickier, it was more so a trickier, just a trick question in a way. This is Good Notes. The app here is Good Notes. But 17, what condition results from hypersecretion of growth hormone after puberty? Give you guys a couple more seconds to answer that. Yes, it is acromegaly. Someone in the comments Original gigantism before puberty, acromegaly after puberty. Yes, that is correct. So this is before. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing the live, and thanks for liking the live, guys. I really appreciate you a lot. A lot of you guys have donated some roses. I really appreciate it. But let's move on to number 18. Which hormone increases calcium levels by stimulating osteoclast activity? Or number 18. Thank you for explaining. Yeah, no problem. I'm more than happy to explain anything. I definitely don't want anyone to be confused. What's this for? This is just for undergraduate anatomy and physiology, so it can be for nursing students, it can be for exercise science or pre-meds. But the answer is B, parathyroid hormone. Yes, osteoclast calcitonin. Yes. All right. I think everyone got that one right. I don't think I saw any wrong answers in the comments. We good on that one, or do we need an explanation? Was anyone confused on that, or was anybody... I guess I can explain. We can explain. This can actually help for the T's exam. Yeah, it definitely can. We can do a little more here. So the question here talks about stimulating osteoclast activity. So we are increasing. I'll just put OC. So calcitonin is a hormone that is produced by the thyroid gland, but it inhibits osteoclast activity. So it lowers Ca2+ levels. And then thyroxine regulates metabolism. But does not have any effect on metabolism, osteoclast activity. And then insulin is for blood glucose. But the parathyroid is when calcium levels are low, which is a result of calcitonin. What this does is it stimulates osteoclast activity. So it breaks down. So when you break down calcium or bone, so you break down bone, you release calcium into the bloodstream. So hopefully that made sense. Did that make sense, everybody? Before we move on. When did I go live? I try to go every day. I'm going to be back alive again for tissues and skin tonight at 7 p.m. OC is for osteoclast, so I'm going to put that here. Yes, you do. It's definitely an issue. It's definitely a pathophysiology. Number 9. Let's move on to number 19. Which condition results from hyposecretion of insulin? We're on number 19 now. Thanks for following, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I can go over the blood cycle tonight briefly. I'll write that down. We're on number 19 here. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to answer. Looks like everyone's getting B. That is correct. Diabetes mellitus. All right, I think everyone got that right. So I'm gonna move on for this to the next one. What is the main function of the hypothalamus in the endocrine system? We're on number 20. We're on number 20. You You guys are awesome. The answer is B, to control other endocrine glands via releasing hormones. It is the master regulator. So it's a regulator. All right, moving on to number 21. Which of the following is not a function of cortisol? Let's see. Can you return for a moment? Yes. All right, we're going over number 21 right now. We just did number 20. Number 21 asks, which of the following is not a function of cortisol? I'm seeing a couple different answers, so I will explain this one here in just a moment. I'll let you guys answer a couple more. Is there any way this will be saved? Yes, it is going to be on my Instagram after the live. It's medzig.ollie. So it'll be on my live right afterwards. But anyway, number 21 is C. Alrighty. So we definitely give you an explanation on that one. Alright, so why is A wrong? A is wrong because cortisol, it increases gluconeogenesis. So this increases. Here, let's put this in here. So this would increase blood glucose, which helps the body respond to stress. Helps stress response. Suppressing the immune system. Cortisol does suppress the immune system. So that's why like prolonged stress can lead to immune suppression. Helping the body cope with long-term stress. It's the stress hormone. So that would help with the stress, but it does not increase protein synthesis. But it does increase blood glucose. This one actually, so this is right, is cortisol is actually catabolic. I'm gonna write this here. Which means it breaks down. So that means it would break down protein. So it would not increase protein synthesis. Alrighty, were we all... Oh my god, yes, my neuroscience exam is later today. Good luck on your exam. Alright, I'm going to move on now. But again, this will be posted to my Instagram afterwards. Anyway, number 22. The posterior pituitary stores and releases which two hormones? We went over that earlier. So you guys should be able to get this one right based on number 22. Number 22. Process of elimination. You guys should be able to get this one right from earlier. See, yes, you guys are correct. Which hormone regulates the circadian rhythms? This one should be a pretty easy one. You guys should know this one. B, yes. Melatonin. So which gland, we'll move on to 24. Thanks for sharing and thanks for liking, guys. I really appreciate it. So which gland atrophies significantly after puberty? We're on number 24 now. I wish I got these in anatomy, yeah. These are just some practice questions just to get some down. 24. The answer is B, the thymus. This is actually a really great review for me. Great. This will definitely help for T's. Fantastic. Do you come on every day? Probably like Monday through Thursday. Don't be cooked. No. Do we need an explanation for this one? I don't really. This is not technically practice for the Hezi. I plan on doing one a little later this week, though, because it has been a popular request. But these kind of questions are kind of like a little more broader. Thank you for helping people. Yeah, no problem. I keep getting these questions wrong. That's okay if you're getting the questions wrong. It's better to get them wrong live here on my live stream than on your exam. So that's why we go over the questions, and that's why I explain them. There's no, no harm. Okay, want an explanation. The thyroid gland remains pretty active throughout life, so remains active. The pituitary gland always continues to produce, so this was one that remains active. And the adrenal gland typically remains active. But the thymus gland is responsible for, so this helps develop the immune system. It's responsible for developing the immune system, which is responsible for like producing T cells and such. But it does shrink after puberty and becomes less active. Because T cell maturation of T cells. So the maturation of T cells occurs less in childhood, and it's replaced by fatty tissue. But it does, despite, so I want to make a indication here. The immune system remains like pretty functional. Does not mean the effectiveness of it decreases. It just means there's less maturation of T cells. I know that has confused people in the past. Alrighty. Let me just take a look at the comments real quick. Hopefully. Alright. Let me see. Can I do a focus one for T's? Yeah, I'm planning on doing it later. What subject is for anatomy and physiology? Can you send out these with answer books? Yes. I do have stuff on the heart, circulation. I have everything on heart, circulation, and immune system. They're all on my website. You can't do this. Yeah, it's true. My exam is going to be more application-based instead of active recall. Yeah, we can do some... I don't know yet when I'm going to do this. It probably will be around like 7 p.m., but I'll post it. I'm actually, once I like kind of have one ready, I'm going to post it on my story. So if you want to give me a follow, I would definitely post it. So tonight I'm doing the tissue. So tissues plus tonight 7 p.m. EST is what I'm doing tonight. But let's move on to number 25 here. We're almost done with the questions, and then okay. Oh, and no. Gotcha. At the end here, we're gonna do. I'll answer some questions and go into more like what you guys are asking and stuff. Posterior and anterior are used to describe locations. Yes. So that would means anterior means it's in the front. Posterior means it's located in behind, like in the back. So it's more. If you're looking at someone face on, their posterior is more to their back, and the anterior is more towards the front. Number 25 is C, cortisol. Was anybody confused on that at all? Make sure I got all that in there. The anterior secretes, and posterior stores and secretes. Yes, that is perfect. That is the good example. I can get into some more like detailed stuff once we finish the questions. Anybody have any questions on that one? Yes, can I explain? So cortisol is a steroid hormone. And this is derived from cholesterol. Insulin is a protein hormone. So if you think cholesterol, lipids, steroid is a lipid. Epinephrine is it's a catecholamine. And then oxytocin is a peptide hormone, a protein hormone. That's why. So that's how you can distinguish the difference between those. Are we all good on that? Ayla, am I going to post this on my Instagram? Yes, I will be posting this on my Instagram right afterwards. Thanks for liking the live, and thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm having a blast doing this with you guys, so can move on here to number 26. Which of the following conditions is associated with an overactive thyroid? Which of the following conditions is overactive thyroid? Number 26. Moved on to number 26. Number 26. The answer is C. That is correct. Graves' disease. Did we want an explanation on that one? 26 was C. I think everyone got that one right. I didn't see any wrong answers. Did we want an explanation? Oops, I hit my thing. So sorry about that, guys. I keep doing that. My stand is kind of in the way. Hopefully that didn't mess it up too much. Anyway, okay, so let's go through it. What is Addison's disease? Addison's disease is the adrenal gland. Are we good here? I'm trying to make sure. I know I bumped my thing, but I want to make sure this is still on the camera. Alrighty. So the adrenal glands are not producing enough cortisol, so or aldosterone. And then Cushing's disease, number B. This is from. This is excessive cortisol production. Normally that's due to like a tumor in the gland, adrenal gland. So this is more so in the adrenal gland. Again, because these are what produce cortisol. And then diabetes insipidus, that's a condition where the posterior pituitary does not produce enough ADH. So this pretty much leads to increased urination plus thirst. Can you help on teas? Yes, I can. I'm going to do a teas session a little later this week. I'm not exactly sure. Can I explain aldosterone? In terms of like its function? I'll make a little section over here for it. Aldosterone is a steroid hormone. Yeah, I spelled that wrong, yeah. It's produced in the adrenal glands, as I mentioned. And it functions for increased sodium retention, increases potassium excretion, which essentially these are for like water and blood pressure. So that's kind of like the main thing of those. Alrighty. You explain things so well. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to finish these questions and I can do a little more of a detailed explanation about aldosterone in terms of like how it functions. But that's the functions, but it has a very big regulation process within like blood, which I'll go over in just a couple minutes here. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for liking the live. Thanks for following. I really appreciate you guys. We'll move on to number 27 here. What is the role of inhibin in males? Oh, yes. Can I... Sorry about that. We're on number 27. We only have 30 questions, so these are the last couple questions here, and then I can answer some questions before I end the live. We're on number 27. What is the role of the hormone inhibin in males? B. Yes, the answer is B. It is responsible for regulating sperm production by inhibiting FSH. Moving on to number 28. We have which hormone does the placenta secrete during pregnancy to maintain the corpus luteum? Which hormone does the placenta secrete during pregnancy to maintain the corpus luteum? Give you guys a couple seconds to answer that one. I'm seeing a couple different answers here. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to answer that one. So again, which hormone does the placenta secrete during pregnancy to maintain the corpus luteum? Med school and anything repro destroys me. Yeah. No, honestly, I didn't really enjoy the reproductive system that much. But the answer here is C, HCG. I'll do a quick explanation of that. It is secreted by the placenta during pregnancy. Again, it is meant to like maintain the corpus luteum. But after fertilization, that is where it starts after fertilization. but it is a temporary structure that's responsible for like forming the ovary. So it produces progesterone. So increase progesterone, which maintains the uterine lining. But this is what's leveled in, so HCG levels are measured in pregnancy tests. They're detectable in like blood or urine, like right after implantation. So that is why. This is in the pituitary. So let's go. So that was produced in the pituitary. The LH is produced in the pituitary. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. It's responsible for regulating the menstrual cycle. So it regulates the menstrual cycle. It's also for development of eggs, plus, let's put egg development. But it does not maintain the corpus luteum. And then oxytocin is produced by the hypothalamus. And this would be during uterine contractions. Alrighty, let me take a look at the comments here before we move on, just to make sure I have my... Also remember this storming, yes. I have my teas next week. You're awesome, thank you. Yeah, no problem. We'll go over... taking step 2, got that wrong. Oh, thank you for the finger heart, I really appreciate it. That was too kind of you. Mariama. Thank you, Mariama. You are awesome. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any comments here. I'm taking step 2 in 2 weeks and got that wrong. Oh, no. It's better to get it wrong here than to get it wrong, like, on your step 2, so... was anyone else confused on anything on that one? Are we all good? Oh, my Siri started.
Interesting question.
Oh, no. Shut up, Siri. Sorry about that. Old Siri. Anyway, I don't see any more questions on this one, so I will move on. So what is the effect of atrial natriuretic peptide, AMP? What is the effect of AMP? But I really appreciate all your gifts, guys. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. We're on number 29, our second to last question here. Oh, no. Siri, I'm not asking you. I need to stop saying her name. Maybe that's why. Oh, my goodness. I don't know why she keeps popping up and locking me out. So sorry about that, guys. Also, you guys know my password now, so don't steal my iPad. Trying to make sure that this is in the picture well. User. Hello, user. Thanks for joining. Can you do Integumentary? Yes, we're actually doing Integumentary tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Move this over a little bit. Sorry, I got my stand here. Teas. Yes, I'm doing teas later in the week. Totally not sure about that one. What is the effect of AMP? Time isn't on my end right now. It is 11:47 a.m. So it'll be later tonight that I do this. What other systems have I done so far? I did Integumentary I did digestive system last night. But it was popular request by some other people that it was going to be tissues and Integumentary tonight. So if you have a request, send me some emails, and I can make questions for certain systems. Have you done renal? No, I have not done renal yet. I do have notes on that on my website, though. Can you do the skeletal? Yeah, I can do the skeletal. I'm in the UK. Okay. I do have a recording of it. I do have the notes from the digestive system questions on my Instagram, which is, I'll put it up here. These will also be on my Instagram as well. But 29, I'll answer that now. 29 is B. Lowers blood pressure by increasing sodium excretion. Following on everything now. Thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for following on everything. Jay, thank you for the rose. That is too kind of you. I really appreciate that. You guys are going to make me cry. You guys are so kind. I plan on posting on YouTube a lot more too. I'd like to do some more like in-depth videos and such. But for 30, which of the following hormones directly opposes the action of parathyroid hormone? Or PTH. Thanks for following. And thanks for joining, and thanks for everything, guys. You guys are awesome. These lives are really helpful. I'm glad. I'm so glad that they're helpful. Yeah, you guys got 1 more seconds. But the answer is A. You guys are all correct. We went over that a little earlier, so in a way. But anyway, those are all the questions I had. Were there any? I'll probably do let's do a blank paper. Where do I get these questions? I just make these questions from my notes. Such a good study tool. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that it's pretty helpful. But I do try to like go over explanations for most of the questions and such. Are you in med school? No, I'm not. I just finished my master's in November in molecular medicine, and I'm currently applying for PhD programs in molecular medicine, specifically doing like cancer research. I like kind of initially wanted to go to medical school, but after like spending time in the hospital, I just realized it like wasn't really for me. Were there any questions for me? This will probably be the end of the live stream, but I'll be back again tonight at 7 p.m. I'll probably write this down here. 7 p.m. EST tonight. Is there any more questions for me at the end of this live stream here? I'd be more than happy to answer a few things before I go. But I really appreciate you guys following me and participating in the live. It's been a lot of fun. You guys make this so much fun. Congratulations, it's amazing. I wanted to be a PA, then completely went the Eastern medicine route. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I thought about PA school for a little while, because I was like, well, good luck on your Eastern medicine route. Can I go over the blood system sometime? Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely do that. Maybe that's something that we can do tomorrow. I'll post about it on my story. If you want to follow me, I can definitely post about what I'll go over in my lives. How do I remember all this info? Lots of practice. I've had anatomy in undergrad, and I had it in grad school. And I've been tutoring anatomy for 5 years. So, and from my standpoint, I've just seen it so many times. But how I studied is... I'll go over a quick, like, how I study. So, separating, like, anatomy and physiology. So they're two different things, right? So I've always thought about anatomy as, like, what or where something is. And physiology is how. So what, where, how. Thanks for all the follow, guys. Thank you. Master's and doctorate completed. Yeah, awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. CH. But for what things are, I always try to recommend like flashcards. Just for like terms, definitions, like terms and such. And then where, I always do labeling. So labeling diagrams over and over. I mostly focus on like what I'm given in class in my lectures. And then I do stuff from the textbook, and I do some other resources. And then how is... The way that I do that is I try to explain. Like if you should be able to explain in your own words. And you can do it to a friend or just you. And essentially like what this works. So let's just use blood flow as an example. So if I'm going to learn about blood flow through the heart, you have your flow chart. You go through your info, like it goes from the right atria to the right ventricle. But essentially, if you want to explain it out loud to yourself or to somebody else, you would kind of do something like this, like right atria, right ventricle, left atria, left ventricle, and then draw the heart. Crappy heart, I know. But then draw it going to the right atrium, into the right ventricle, pulmonary artery, to the lungs, then back into the left atrium, into the left ventricle, and then out through the aorta. So that's how you'd go through. Like, be able to explain this out loud like I just did, kind of thing. And you should be able to do that. That's what I think. I use good notes. Then what's psychology? It's the study of human behavior. So, I can't see. Sorry. Oh no, why it's so crooked. So psychology would be, it's just almost same principle in a way. You'd kind of study like how things work. But you also in psychology you go over some anatomy, so it'd be things like that. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for sharing and thanks for joining. That's essentially how you go over physiology, how things work. So how things work. So there's normal physics, like how something works from start to the end. What things cause dysfunction of this? So let's just say, what would cause dysfunction? And then result of dysfunction. So that's kind of how I always have looked at it in a way. What's the best way to study anatomical terms? I have a quiz on Friday. Kind of like I just mentioned here, like terminology, I think just flashcards, just repetition. I have a video actually on my TikTok here. If you scroll down a little bit, it was like a couple weeks ago I think I made it. But I show you how I go through flashcards. So I would make your flashcards and that's exactly how I would go through them. Because I don't have my flashcards with me right now. But anatomical terms you do have to label sometimes, so that's why I would label. So learn what they are and then place where they are. So that's kind of the process. So learn what things are, where they are, and how they work. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. That's essentially the kind of step-by-step study routine I go through. I always make flashcards for terms and things. So I start there, and then I kind of learn where things are in relation to one another. Can someone pass in 3 days for A&P2 exam? Yeah, you can. What are the chapters titled? Maria, what are your chapter titles? Yeah, lock in. Yeah, first of all, lock in. What is my opinion on coloring books? I think that if you're having trouble with certain structures, like a lot of people have trouble with internal skull features, like all the foramens and stuff. I recommend it for things like not using it for everything. Blood, ears, eyes, endocrine. It's definitely possible. Please re-explain the diagram. Yeah, so I was going over how to study anatomy and physiology, and I was explaining, I guess we're going over this diagram. Physiology is how things work. So be able to explain things in your own words to a friend or to just yourself out loud. And if you're going through the blood through the heart, you'll make your notes, and then you should be able to describe it either visually or just in your own words of like, okay, blood enters through the right atrium, into the right ventricle, through the pulmonary artery to the lungs to get oxygenated, comes back to the left atria, into the left ventricle, into the aorta, and then after you learn its normal function, look at dysfunction. Like what causes the blood flow to be disrupted, and then look into what is the result of that dysfunction. Do I use Anki, Jason? Another finger heart. Thank you, Jay, for the finger heart. I really appreciate it. You're too kind. Quizlet is a great tool for flashcards. Yes. So Quizlet Anki. I could never get into Anki. There was just like so much setup for it. I just kind of preferred Quizlet or I could honestly like just paper flashcards too. Any more questions? Anki seems very complicated compared to Quizlet. Yeah, there's benefits to it for sure. I personally I feel like it would take longer to set something up. I don't know. I just didn't really like it. It just didn't really work for me. It is for longer retention, yeah, but I personally think that having great reference notes kind of for me create a little bit of a mind palace, and I always like to explain things out loud because sometimes I feel like you just get used to seeing the question and then you get used to answering the question as opposed to understanding the material. Yeah, I can go over Punnett squares real quick. So Punnett square. So we'll do. So the main thing that you want to know is a dominant allele. And keep getting invited to join. Co-host. Probably won't join a co-host. If I don't know you. If I don't know you, I will not co-host with you. So dominant alleles and then recessive alleles. So these are dominant alleles are going to dominate recessive alleles. And these are always in capital letters. So B and lowercase b. And then there's a genotype and phenotype. Genotype is the genetic makeup. So I remember G for gene, P for physical. So that's what shows up in person. But typically, it's kind of like a flowchart. So B, so it'd be capital B. Let's do lowercase here. So B, down here is B, lowercase b, lowercase b. Does that make sense in a way? They're not too difficult, just some practice questions. But it'll be I don't know, BB is blue, BB is light blue, and lowercase b is white or something. So if you have sorry, I'm for my crappy squares. B, lowercase b. Then you have B. So you'd have blue, light blue, and then white. So there's a 25% chance. So B. So 50%. Oh wait, no, sorry. 50%, 25%, and 25%. So there'd be a 25% chance it'll be blue, a 50% chance it would be light blue, and 25% chance it'd be white. Does that answer the question? Special senses, endocrine system, blood, and heart. Which chapters are they again? Yes, perfect. Yeah, so essentially you're trying to determine what phenotype is going to be available there. So these are the ratios. And it does it does reset for every time. So the big letter is always dominant. I said my AP biogenetic or genetics. But are there any other just quick questions here? Because I am going to end the live. I'll be back on tonight doing the skin. I'll put this up here. I'll be back on tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I do have to end the live here. Were there any quick questions? I can do a dive cross later today. Thanks for following, guys. Definitely give me a follow. I'll be live again here shortly. All my study guides are on my website as well, from Anatomy and Physiology. So if you want any study guides or anything like that, they're all there. But if there were no quick questions, I'm going to end the live here. Thank you so much for your tips. No problem. Good luck on your exam. You got this. It's definitely possible to get all that in, but you definitely got to lock in and cook. But thank you guys for watching and commenting and all your gifts and stuff. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. But have a good one.